If this is one of those days, I'm really glad you're here. This is Kallaborate, where joy becomes your foundation. Not the loud kind of joy, but the kind you build piece by piece after life changes everything. I'm Francene, and I'm walking this with you. In the last episode, we talked about finding your voice, about recognizing that your voice may never have disappeared. It may have been buried, edited, quieted, or waiting for somewhere safe enough to be heard. And we landed on something important. Your voice matters, even when someone disagrees with you. But there's another part of this, because recognizing your voice does not automatically mean you trust it. I know that one really well. For years, I could know what I thought and still ask everyone else what I should do. So today, we're stepping into the question at the center of this entire season. What would change if you trusted yourself more? For a very long time, when I had a decision to make, I started writing about it. I would pull out my journal and work through the whys and the why nots. I would think about every possibility I could imagine. Then I would talk to people, friends, people I trusted, people who knew something about whatever I was trying to decide. I would collect all that information, weigh it, think about it, and usually end up talking with my partner. And somehow, their opinion became the final one. Even when I had already done all the thinking, even when I had already figured out what I wanted, even when something inside me was quietly saying, I think I know, I would hand that decision away. Looking back now, there are decisions I made, or decisions I gave in on, where I think, I already knew what felt right to me. But I did not trust that knowing enough to let it count. I trusted everyone else's experience, everyone else's logic, everyone else's certainty. And somehow, my own answer kept coming last. I learned some of those lessons the hard way. Very hard. There are things I wish I had done differently. Choices where I think now, I should have listened to myself. But that's easy to say from here. I did not know then what I know now. And I did not trust myself then, the way I'm learning to now. What surprised me was how long the pattern stayed, even after I was safe. Even after the people who taught me not to trust myself were no longer making my everyday decisions. The training remained. Through therapy, I began noticing how deeply it was woven into me. And sometimes it showed up in really ordinary places. What do you want for dinner? What do I want to watch on television? Which thing sounds good to me? Those sound like simple questions. But when you have spent a lifetime thinking first about what everyone else wants, what will make things easiest, what choices keep everybody happy, even deciding what sounds good for dinner can require stopping long enough to ask yourself, what do I want? Strangely enough, I trust myself more on many of the big things now. When I know I want to build something, I build it. When I know a direction matters to me, I move toward it. When I know something needs to happen, I am much better at owning the decision. It's often the little things where the old pattern sneaks back in. And sometimes I catch myself with a friend asking their opinion about something and suddenly thinking, why did I ask? I already know what I'm going to do. I don't need permission. That has changed some of my friendships because I'm changing inside them. I am becoming less likely to ask, what do you think I should do? And more likely to say, this is what I've decided to do. That is different. For me, and sometimes for the people who have known me for a long time. There were certain kinds of decisions that were especially difficult for me. Anything connected to what I was good at. Trying something new. Taking a chance on myself. And saying no. Oh, saying no. There were years when I could explain every reason why I did not want to do something and still somehow end up doing it because someone else wanted me to, or because I was worried they would be disappointed, or because their discomfort felt more important than my own answer. I'm still learning, but today I understand something I did not understand then. My opinion belongs in the room too. And then there was this podcast. One morning, I was looking at a calendar and realized something that stopped me. April 8th, 2026 would mark 50 years since my dad died. 50 years. I had talked for years about things I wanted to do. Write, speak more, create something that might help people, start a podcast. And in that moment, something clicked. It was almost like somebody flipped a light switch inside my head. It was go time. Here is what was different. I did not ask anyone, should I do this? I did not ask, do you think this is a good idea? I did not ask, do you think anyone will listen? I did not ask, am I too old to start now? I said, I'm doing this. By the end of that day, I had a preliminary plan. And I started telling people that my podcast would launch on April 8th, 2026. I told enough people that there is no way I was going to quietly back out later. Apparently, that was one way to keep myself accountable. But what mattered most was the sentence had changed. Not should I, but I am. Now, does that mean I suddenly trusted myself completely? Nope. Definitely not. I knew it was going to be messy. I knew I would make mistakes. I knew there were things about podcasting that I did not even know enough to know. I did not know. And there still are. I expected to learn one step at a time. And that is exactly what has happened. I did research. I asked people in the podcast world where I should begin learning. I gathered information. But there was a very important difference. I was asking for information, not permission. That has become a big distinction for me. Other people can know things I do not know. Of course they can. They have experiences I have not had. They have knowledge that I can learn from. I want that. I hope I never stop learning from other people. But their wisdom does not have to become ownership of my decision. I can listen, ask questions, consider their perspective, change my mind, say, I had not thought about that. And then the decision still comes back to me. Not because I'm always right, because it's my life. Was I confident when I started Kallaborate? Nope. Was I scared? Absolutely. I still am sometimes. I wonder, is what I'm talking about useful to someone? Did I say that in a way that helped? Will this reach the person who needs it? Those questions have not disappeared. What has changed is that I no longer require them to disappear before I move forward. I can be scared and record the episode. I can be uncertain and write the next one. I can wonder whether I'm ready and take the next step anyway. Trusting myself today looks remarkably ordinary. It looks like writing the next podcast episode, then recording the next podcast episode, and then doing it again. It looks like taking classes to learn how to find places where I can speak. It looks like sharing something every day that may put a little joy into somebody's world. It looks like moving one step forward. Not 20. Not knowing exactly where every step will lead. Just one. Then the next one. Things are still messy. They are still imperfect. I am still learning. But I am not quitting because someone else questions whether I can do it. And I am not waiting for someone else to give me permission. That is what trusting myself looks like today. I used to think self-trust would feel like certainty. Like one day I would finally know enough, feel confident enough, and have all the answers lined up neatly enough that choosing would become easy. That is not what happened. I stopped requiring certainty before I allowed myself to choose. That changed everything. Because no matter how much information we gather, we never know everything that will happen after a decision. We just do not. Sometimes you jump in and it goes wonky. That is a highly technical term around here, wonky. And then you figure out what happened. You adjust. You fix what can be fixed. You learn something. And you keep going. Trusting myself does not mean believing I'm always right. That would be exhausting and fairly unrealistic. Trusting myself means I believe I can handle discovering I was wrong. I can have a conversation. I can listen. I can learn something new. I can say, oh, I did not know that. That changes what I think. There is freedom in that. I do not have to defend an old opinion just because it used to be mine. I am allowed to update. I am allowed to change direction. I am allowed to know more tomorrow than I know today. I have always thought of life as a place where we are learning. And I am definitely still a student. I have made mistakes. I will make more. I will think I understand something and later realize there was another layer. This does not mean I should stop choosing. It means I should keep learning. What I am no longer willing to do is not try something that matters to me because somebody else thinks I might fail. Maybe I will. Maybe it will not work the way I imagined. Maybe I will need to change everything. But I would rather learn from trying than spend another chapter wondering what would have happened if I had trusted myself enough to begin. For years, I thought trusting myself meant knowing I was right. Now, I think it means something very different. It means knowing I will stay with myself, whatever happens next. If the decision works, I will be there. If it does not, I will still be there. If I need to change course, I can. If I discover I misunderstood something, I can learn. If I stumble, I do not have to turn that stumble into proof that I never should have trusted myself. I can simply say, well, that did not go the way I expected. What do I do now? Earlier in the season, we talked about what happens when you stop abandoning yourself. I think this is connected because sometimes self-abandonment happens after the choice too. Something does not work, and immediately we turn on ourselves. I knew I was stupid. I should have listened to everyone else. Why did I think I could do this? I know that voice. But trusting myself now means I do not have to join the pile on. I can be disappointed without being cruel to myself. I can learn without making myself the lesson. One thing has changed in my decision making now. I check in with myself first. That sounds small. For me, it's not. If a decision involves other people, I think through what I believe. I consider the possibilities. I put together my response. Then I may talk with the people involved. I still want feedback. I still care about how my choices affect people. I still want information I may not have considered. But now I'm looking for feedback, not direction. There are still places where self-trust becomes harder for me. Conflict is one of them. Raised voices can still make me step back. My instinct is to reevaluate everything. Am I wrong? Did I say something badly? How do I keep anyone from getting hurt? Sometimes I will ask someone I trust for another perspective about how to approach the situation. But I notice something now. I am not asking them, am I allowed to feel what I feel? I am not asking, should I be allowed to make this choice? I am asking, is there something I'm not seeing? Those are very different questions. I wish somebody had told me this 20 or 30 years ago. There is not always one perfect, right answer waiting somewhere outside of you. There is what you know today and what you learn tomorrow. You make the best decision you can with what you understand now. Then you keep learning. You keep being willing to change your mind or change direction when new information truly changes something for you. Not because somebody insists you should think differently. Because something inside you says, that makes sense to me. There's something else I wish I'd understood much earlier. There will never be another me. And there will never be another you. No one else has lived every moment you have lived. No one else has seen the world from the exact place where you have stood. No one else has your combination of memories, questions, knowledge, mistakes, curiosity, joy, and experience. That means what runs through your mind has value. Not because every thought is automatically correct, because it comes from a perspective that does not exist anywhere else. Your perspective belongs in the conversation. Sometimes I think we're afraid to speak because we think we have to stay attached forever to whatever we say today. But we are learning beings. We can say, this is what I believe right now. And later, I learned something new. I understand this differently now. That is not failure. That is growth. Changing your mind does not automatically mean you should never have trusted yourself the first time. You trusted yourself with the information that you had then. And now you're trusting yourself with what you know now. Sometimes trusting yourself does not even sound like an answer. Sometimes it sounds like, I don't know yet. I need more information. I need time. I am not ready to decide. There is nothing weak about that. There is nothing wrong with allowing your answer to arrive later. Self-trust does not require an immediate opinion about everything. Sometimes trusting yourself means trusting yourself enough not to force an answer you don't have. Maybe you're listening right now with 12 different opinions in your head. Your friend thinks one thing, your partner thinks another, your coworker has a completely different idea. Someone online said something else. And somehow, the more people you ask, the less certain you become. I know that place. So maybe before collecting opinion number 13, there's one person you have not asked yet. You. What do you think? Not what answer will everyone approve of, not which answer guarantees that nothing will go wrong, just what do I know right now? Take a moment with that. You don't have to solve anything. There may not even be a decision in front of you today. Just notice what happens when you imagine asking yourself first. What do I think? What do I want? What matters to me? What do I already know that I keep asking someone else to confirm? Maybe nothing answers immediately. That's okay. We're not forcing anything here. We're simply making room for your own voice to be one of the voices you hear. Trusting yourself does not mean shutting everyone else out. It does not mean believing you always know best. It does not mean becoming rigid or never asking for help. It means listening without disappearing inside everyone else's answers. It means allowing another person's opinion to be information without automatically turning it into instruction. It means recognizing that your own opinion belongs in the room too. There is a particular kind of freedom in making a decision that belongs to you. Even when you're nervous, even when you're not certain, even when somebody else would choose differently. That freedom has become part of how I rebuild joy. Every episode I publish, every story I tell, every speaking opportunity I move toward, every page of the book I intend to write, every piece of Joy Cornerstone I continue building, none of them require me to know exactly how the story ends. They require me to trust myself enough to take the next step. Joy is not something I lost. It's something I rebuilt. And today, part of rebuilding it is letting myself choose. This season began with a question. What if I trusted myself? We have looked at the roles life handed us, what choosing ourselves can cost, the way we still abandon ourselves, the dreams that stayed, the voice that was always there. And maybe self-trust is what begins connecting all of those pieces. Not confidence, not certainty, trust. The willingness to say, this is what I know today. This is the choice I can make today. And if I learn something tomorrow, I trust myself enough to choose again. So today, you do not have to make a giant decision. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to suddenly become fearless. Maybe you simply notice one place where you have been asking everyone else before asking yourself. And maybe you let your own answer join the conversation. You don't have to stop listening to other people. You just have to stop being the one person whose opinion you never ask. Next time, we'll slow everything down again. We will make space for another Say Their Name episode. A place to remember the people we carry with us, to speak their names out loud, to acknowledge the lives and love that continue shaping who we are. If there's someone you'd like remembered, visit Kallaborate.com and choose Say Their Name to share their name with me. Just their name, or one sentence about who they are to you. Their name is enough. They were here. They mattered. They are not forgotten. I'm still learning to trust myself. I think that matters to say out loud. I have not arrived at some magical place where I never second guess anything. I still ask questions. I still get scared. I still wonder if something will work. I still make mistakes. But I do something differently now. I stay with myself. I listen to other people without handing them my life. I gather information without asking someone else to grant me permission. I make the best choice I can with what I know today. And tomorrow, I'll know a little more. Maybe that is what trusting ourselves really looks like. Not knowing exactly where every step leads, but believing we're capable of meeting ourselves when we get there. One step, then another, then another. We'll keep walking together, one conversation at a time. I see you. If you're rebuilding one piece at a time, follow Kallaborate wherever you listen to podcasts and be part of the conversations ahead.